Hey guys, welcome back to Senegalese Twisted. Today I am back again with another review, and today we're gonna talk about the 5th episode of the 3rd season of Maîtresse d'un homme marié. In the last episode, we all thought that Djalika would be standing in front of the door and that Dalanda would open the door. However, in this episode, we find out that that was not going to happen at all, because apparently we continue where Dalanda's asking Tairu, like, are you sure? Do you do all this effort for your phone? If you want, I can get the phone for you. And eventually Tairu convinces Dalanda to stay, and she doesn't get out to get that phone. And apparently they just, you know, get their night on, and Djalika actually fell asleep in the car, so she did not actually go to the door, or maybe she did but she went back. And she's actually calling in at work, and she's telling her colleague to take over for her and that she will come back at the office as soon as possible. Then you actually see that Djalika's in the car and Tairu and Dalanda are actually walking towards the car, and Dalanda wants Tairu to drop her off at the office. And he's actually trying to come up with something to make sure that she does not get into that car, because he knows Djalika is still in there. And Dalanda gets a bit suspicious because she's like, it feels like you are hiding something from me that is in the car. And of course Tairu is like gaslighting, and he's like, no, just take the keys, go and get in there and see it for yourself. Are you starting again with your doubts and your accusations? And eventually Dalanda lets it go, and she goes on her way. He gets in the car. Djalika does not say anything. Then we have the new employee that is presenting herself, and it's Biram and Sheik's mom, like Merjane, her neighbor friend, her daughter. And she's the one that's being presented to the office, to the other people. And Sheik actually announces that today is a special day because it's actually Biram who has the honor to address the company. And Biram is starting to say that, yeah, we have been through a lot, there was a lot of drama, and he's actually introducing the new lady. And then Mansoura starts laughing hysterically, and she's just like kind of attacking the new lady, and she's like, yeah, and what do you think? Because the new lady, she's talking about how she there are 2 things she wants to change: the way business is conducted, but also the challenges. And then Mansoura's like, yeah, well, before we open the red carpet, you're already trying to take the stage. What are you thinking? Are you thinking that we will come to work afraid of you, that we will be afraid of you? But I think this is all part of the act, where she acts like the jealous girlfriend or employee, and it's all part of her spiel. In the next scene, it is all about Sheik and Mer, so Raki's mom. And Raki's mom is just addressing the problem that she has, because she is complaining that she has prayed so much, given so much charity, and that she just wants her child back. And she's just addressing that Raki is the only child she has, and she's willing to do everything for her. And even Sheik is telling her, reassuring her that, you know what, Mom, we will do everything to make sure that Raki comes back to you, and she will have to come back. And then the mom is like, yeah, but then again, what will she come back to? Because she does not want, I can imagine her not wanting to die in prison or something like that. And Merso is also saying that, you know what, I have sold everything that I own, and I've taken up a very, very good lawyer, and I do not want her to die. Even Raki's mom is also talking about, yeah, and since she got to know Mustafa, her whole life has been upside down, and I think that she's just trying to blame Mustafa. Then it's the new employee, and she's talking to Biram, and Biram is trying to seduce her a little bit, and they're just talking, and she's just asking questions about Senegalese and how it recovered from all the bad publicity. And Biram is just trying to explain that, you know what, there were a lot of journalists who were trying to, you know, dirty up our name even more, and there were a lot of employees who were really doubting, and there were a lot of clients who did not have any trust in us anymore. However, we worked really hard to gain everything back. And then it's like her telling him that she liked the way the negotiations went, and that it was fast, and that they were very dynamic and really open. And then Biram is trying to pull his move on her, trying to touch her, and he's just like saying that, you know what, I'm really good, and if you ever taste me, you will have you'll be so happy, and you will be satisfied. And she's just saying that, you know, you're talking to a Mrs. over here, so not a miss but a Mrs., like somebody's wife. And he's like, that's okay, are you scared, are you threatened by that? And if it's even better, because if you have a husband, if you have tasted me, you will love your husband even more. And she's like, well, wait until you meet him. Then Djalika's like screaming at Mrs. Mer So, and she's like, what are you doing here? And Sheikh is trying to, you know, calm her down, and she's like, no, Sheikh, what is she doing here? What is she doing here? And Mer So's like, aren't you impolite? Do you even have real estate? Did you give wealth to other people? And then she actually says, did your father build this for you to storm in here? And she's like, my father, the one that your daughter killed? And then Merso's like, because of course Merso did not know that Djalika was Mr. Sanya's daughter. And then again, Merso is like, you know what, Raki is not the person who killed your father, and even if she did, she should have cut him in pieces and done even worse to him. And she's still complaining that Djalika is really, really impolite. Biram comes in with the new employee, and he's just asking her like, should I accompany you to the door or out? Then it's Sheikh and Salif, and I actually thought Salif would have been gone as well, but he's here, and he's just complaining to Sheikh that, you know what, this is a professional space, it is not a market, and I do not know why you and your family are always trying to solve their personal problems at the office. And he still does not understand anything, and Sheikh is just like pleading with him, saying that, you know what, you should have been able to understand Djalika's point of view with everything that has happened. And he's like, no, because this is a business, it's not a market. Personal things need to be solved at home, not at the office. Then Sheikh is like, oh, so you are actually, you know, still mad at me, and it's all because of Marieme, because she left. And Salif is actually really convinced that if Sheikh did not interrupt their little moment, that Marieme would have actually married Salif and said yes to the proposal. And they talk about that a little bit, and you can just see that Salif is really mad at Sheikh, but then again, Sheikh does not want Salif to actually be the one that's right, but he also does not want Salif to be the winner of the battle. And Sheikh is just telling Salif that, you know what, still, this is my company. I can do whatever the F I want with it. But then Salif is like, no, that's where you're wrong, because I have a part in this company. So this is ours. And then Sheikh is telling Salif that, you know what? The only reason why Marieme left is because you sold her BS. And she saw right through you. And then Salif said something about Sheikh never being the type of person that would never blame himself for anything, but would always seek blame elsewhere. Then there's a scene where you see Philly eating and you see Sheikh coming, and I'm sure a lot of people thought, oh my god, they're on a date, but that's not the case. So what has happened is that Sheikh actually invited Philly over because he wanted to talk to her. Philly is also expressing at the beginning of this scene that she did not know why Sheikh actually wanted her to come, but that she came here to find that out. What they find out is that Sheikh is actually trying to plead with Philly because he really wants Philly to come back to her relationship with Lala and to talk some sense into Lala, because he expressed at the beginning that he actually wants the kids back. Philly is adamant that she and Lala, whatever they had, whatever friendship they had, that will never be the same again. Sheikh is also saying that, you know what, I have noticed that you guys are at war. However, just get over it and get your friendship together, because I know that if it continues like this, Lala will have a lot of problems and Lala will go like downwards. And Philly is still adamant that she and Lala, their friendship, it's over, it will never be the same again. Philly really wants Sheikh to forget about everything that she and Lala went through, their history, their friendship, that he completely forgets about that, because she does not see it coming or having a future. And then of course Sheikh is like, well, you have a lot of nerve saying all of that, because you know damn well that everything that Lala got herself into was because of you. And then Philly is like, you know what, actually you are right, that I will take responsibility for that. However, you should also know that Lala has been through so much. You have hurt her so much. Don't you sometimes just wake up or think to yourself that you have remorse, regret, and that you should actually contact her and ask her for forgiveness? And then he's like, I would never ask her for forgiveness. Then Philly stands up to leave and Sheikh is like, oh no, why don't you finish your plate? Where are you going? What's going on? And Philly is just telling him that, you know what, Sheikh, I thought that you were the best of all men, that you were the best of all husbands. And then of course Sheikh is like, well, Philly, I am a man. I will always support my wife. I can give a lot of presents to my wife. And you should know that if God would give you a husband like me, Sheikh Diagne, that would mean that God really loves you. And you should also know that if I marry you, other people would never be jealous of you, because that's what you deserve, a good husband like me. Then there's a short scene where you see that Dalanda is handing over a case file to a male lawyer, and he's just expressing that he thinks that this case file is very loaded, it makes him very scared. However, I do not know what this is about. I don't know if it's like Mummy and Siaka, or it's maybe like her own thing that she is, you know, compiling against Tairu. Then there's a scene with Djalika and her mom, and they're at a restaurant, and Djalika is just expressing that she wants a face-to-face with Rocky, because she wants to know how Rocky is linked to her dad for her to kill her dad. And then her mom is saying that, you know what, don't worry about it, but you should also know that your father was a suspicious type. He was not, you know, a right man, and she does not want to hear that. And then they actually get into a little fight, and the subject is just like going back to her and Tyru. And Djalika's mom wants Djalika to know that she will forever speak up about her thoughts and her opinions. And she tells Djalika that she wants Tyru to know that she does not want a son-in-law like him, because he is the type of man who would do takasuf without telling his wife, to keep that secret from his wife, and that her own daughter would accept such a thing, because she cannot accept that for her daughter. And then you can clearly see that Djalika does not want to talk about it, so then they just order food. And then I saw that Dalanda and Tyru were also at a restaurant. So at one point I was like, okay, so they're gonna see each other. You will see Djalika and her mom outside, and then Tyru and Dalanda inside, and then they would see each other. But that did not happen. I wish it happened, maybe somewhere else in this season. However, Dalanda and Tyru are clinking, and Tyru is like in his thoughts, and Dalanda wants to know what's up, and he's just telling her that he has a lot of regret and that he put her through a lot of suffering. And Dalanda is like, well, don't worry about it, that was in the past, now we have to turn the page, and now it's time for new things. And then she just talks about the baby, that will be, you know, the symbol for the new change, the new pages. And I don't know, but Tyru is really working on my nerves, because he's so annoying with all this saying sorry and everything. People, do not forget, the first time we met Tyru, a couples therapy, marriage counseling, and he told her then and there, I don't have feelings for you anymore, and I cannot forgive him for that. Then there's a scene with Amsa and Sheik. And Sheik comes in, he barges in because he's sick and tired of Salif, and he actually wants to know whether Amsa has some dirt on him. But she doesn't have any dirt on him, because every time she thinks she's ahead of him, he actually seems to be ahead of her. And Sheik comes in, he wants to know, do you have any dirt? Why is everything going so slow? And Amsa is just telling her that, you know what, it takes time, because I have tried so many things, but it doesn't seem to work. Sheik talks about his run-in with Salif and what he blames him for, so that Salif thinks that Sheik is the reason why Marieme is gone. And it seems that Amsa doesn't want to talk about Marieme, and then he asks why, and she's like, because every time, because this is the whole reason why we are dealing with this, because the first time she ran off to Ivory Coast, and now we are stuck with an Ivory Coast man. So we will not know whether she is on her way to South Africa, and whether she's gonna give us a South African man with its own problems. So I think that Amsa really wants to get some dirt on Salif. However, she is stuck because there is no dirt to be found. However, he's just working also really hard in order for her not to find the dirt. And I think that Sheik wants the dirt, but more for revenge, because he wants to show that he's better than Salif. And even Sheik said at one point that, you know what, actually Biram is close with Salif. However, we cannot invite Biram to our fight, because with Biram you'll never know how it ends, because it might even be that at the end Biram is going to mess up everything. And even Hamza's like, you know what, we do not need biram. Then there's the scene with Djalika, and she's on the phone, she's laughing, she's even providing commentary. Apparently she's watching a video of Noura, and she's even saying that, you know what, kids, they're so careless, they don't have anything to worry about. But all this time Tairo is trying to talk to her, touch her, but she recoils, she doesn't want to be touched. And then at one point he gets mad and he slams this table, and he's like, just say something, because he's so frustrated because she does not say anything and she's ignoring him. And she's just like, what do you want me to say? Because even him, he just suggested that, you know what, do you want me to lie, to invent something, to come up with a story that is not true, to make you feel better? And she's like, no. And then he starts apologizing and saying that, you know what, I want to bring you and your mom out to dinner, to take you guys out to dinner. And then he finally apologizes, and Djalika expresses to him that if you knew you would end up apologizing, why didn't you just start with the apology? Which makes sense. And just because Djalika is a cute girl, she just tells him that, you know what, I will still be mad until you dance for me. And then he starts dancing. That was the end of the 5th episode of the 3rd season of Maîtresse d'un homme marié. I want to thank you guys for watching, especially you, Michael, because I've seen your comments and your motivation. So I want to thank you for that. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday.